In a small village at the edge of the dense Amani Forest, a baby girl named Zuri was born. Her mother, Amani, had longed for a child for many years. When Zuri came into the world, she was radiant, her skin like the softest cocoa and her eyes sparkling like the morning dew. Amani was a skilled healer in the village, known for her knowledge of herbs and remedies. From the moment Zuri was born, the village knew she was special, for her cries were soft, and her presence brought a sense of calm. Amani loved Zuri fiercely, but her joy was short-lived. When Zuri was only 5 years old, her mother fell ill with a mysterious sickness that no one could cure, not even the wise elders of the village. Zuri would sit beside her mother every day, holding her hand, but Amani's health continued to fail. Before she passed, Amani whispered to Zuri, "You have a gift, my child. Use it wisely, and never let your heart turn cold." With those final words, Amani was gone, leaving Zuri alone with her father. Zuri's father, Rudo, was a kind man, but grief made him distant. After some time, he remarried a woman named Nia, who was known for her beauty but had a heart as cold as stone. Nia was jealous of Zuri's beauty and the love the villagers still showed her. Though Zuri was only a child, the villagers would often come to her with minor ailments, and after she touched them, they would feel better, though she was unaware of her own power. As the months passed, Nia's hatred for Zuri grew. She began to treat her cruelly, forcing her to do all the chores, forbidding her from playing with other children, and speaking ill of her behind her back. "She's a witch," Nia would whisper to anyone who would listen. That's why her mother died, and her father barely speaks. The villagers began to grow suspicious of Zuri, even though she had done nothing wrong. Life under Nia's roof became unbearable for Zuri. Every day, she was tasked with harder and harder chores, fetching water from the farthest well, scrubbing floors until her hands bled, and cooking for Nia and her own daughters, who were no kinder than their mother. Her father, lost in his grief, hardly noticed how Zuri was treated. Nia, meanwhile, continued to spread rumors about Zuri being a witch, and some villagers began to avoid her, afraid of the young girl with the mysterious gift of healing. Despite the harsh treatment, Zuri's heart remained kind. When no one was looking, she would help the sick animals in the village, and her mere touch would revive them. But her powers remained hidden, and Zuri kept to herself, longing for the mother she had lost and the love she once knew. Far from Zuri's village, in the royal palace of the nearby kingdom, the king's only son, Prince Kamari, fell gravely ill. The best healers in the kingdom were summoned, but none could cure him. The king, desperate to save his son, sent messengers far and wide, promising great rewards to anyone who could heal Prince Kamari. He even promised to give half of his kingdom to the person who succeeded in saving his son's life. News of the prince's illness and the king's promise soon reached Zuri's village. Nia, hearing of the reward, mocked Zuri, saying, "If you're truly a witch, why not heal the prince and claim the kingdom for yourself?" But Zuri had no interest in wealth or power. She only wanted peace and a chance to escape the cruelty of her stepmother. One night, as Zuri lay in her small corner of the house, she had a dream. In the dream, her mother appeared to her, surrounded by light. "Zuri," she said softly, "it is time for you to embrace your gift. Go to the palace and heal the prince. Do not fear. You have the power to save him." Zuri woke with a start, her heart racing. Could she truly heal the prince? She had never tried to heal a person before, but deep inside, she felt her mother's words to be true. The next morning, without telling her stepmother or father, Zuri set out for the palace. Zuri's journey to the palace was long and filled with obstacles. She traveled through forests, across rivers, and over hills, her feet sore and her body exhausted. Along the way, she encountered a group of travelers who were also on their way to the palace, hoping to try their hand at healing the prince. When they asked Zuri why she was traveling alone, she told them she was merely visiting a relative, not wanting to reveal her true intentions. Despite the long journey, Zuri's spirit remained strong. She remembered her mother's words and knew she had to try. The thought of saving the prince and bringing peace to the kingdom gave her the strength to continue. After several days of travel, Zuri finally arrived at the palace gates. The sight of the grand palace, with its towering walls and ornate carvings, took her breath away. However, the mood inside the palace was somber. The prince's illness had worsened, and many of the healers who had come to try their luck had already left, unable to do anything. Zuri approached the gatekeeper, a tall man with a serious expression. "I have come to see the prince," she said boldly. "I believe I can heal him." The gatekeeper looked at her skeptically. "A young girl like you?" he scoffed. "Many have tried and failed. What makes you think you can succeed?" "I have a gift," Zuri replied simply. "Please let me try." After much hesitation, the gatekeeper finally allowed Zuri into the palace. Inside, the air was thick with worry. Servants rushed about, and the king himself paced nervously outside his son's chamber. When he saw Zuri, he raised an eyebrow. "You are but a child," he said. "Do you truly believe you can heal my son?" Zuri bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I do not know for certain, but I must try. I was born with a gift, and I believe this is my chance to use it." The king studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Very well," he said. "But know this. If you fail, there will be no reward." Zuri nodded and followed the king into the prince's chamber, her heart pounding in her chest. The room was dimly lit, and the air was heavy with the scent of herbs. Prince Kamari lay in the center of the room, his face pale and his breathing shallow. Zuri felt a pang of sympathy for the young man who looked not much older than herself. Without hesitation, Zuri knelt beside the prince's bed and took his hand in hers. Closing her eyes, she focused on the warmth that spread from her fingertips into his cold skin. She whispered a prayer, just as her mother had taught her, and let her gift flow through her. Minutes passed, and Zuri could feel the prince's heartbeat growing stronger. His breathing became more even, and the color slowly returned to his cheeks. The king, who had been watching in silence, gasped in amazement. Prince Kamari opened his eyes, blinking in confusion as he sat up. What happened?" he asked weakly. The king rushed to his side, tears streaming down his face. "You are healed, my son," he exclaimed. "This young girl has saved your life." Zuri stood quietly, a sense of relief washing over her. She had done it. The prince was healed, and her mother's words had proven true. True to his word, the king announced that Zuri would receive half of his kingdom as a reward for saving his son. The entire palace was abuzz with the news of the young girl who had performed a miracle. Word spread quickly, and soon the villagers from Zuri's home heard the incredible story. Nia, who had mocked Zuri, was furious. She had never imagined that the young girl she had mistreated could achieve such greatness. But despite her anger, Nia knew she could no longer treat Zuri with cruelty. With time, Prince Kamari and Zuri grew close, and the prince admired not only her beauty but also her kind heart and strength. He asked for her hand in marriage, and Zuri, though surprised, agreed. The wedding was a grand celebration, with people from all over the kingdom coming to witness the union of the prince and the girl with the healing gift. Zuri's father, who had been distant for so long, was filled with pride at his daughter's achievements. He apologized for not protecting her from Nia's cruelty, and Zuri forgave him, just as she had forgiven her stepmother. Despite everything, Zuri's heart remained pure. She could see the misery in Nia's eyes and knew that her stepmother was ashamed of how she had treated her. In a moment of kindness, Zuri approached Nia and said, "I forgive you. Let us live in peace from now on." Nia, shocked by Zuri's words, broke down in tears. She begged for Zuri's forgiveness, and from that day forward, the tension between them dissolved. Nia became a kinderwoman, and the two lived together in harmony. Zuri's reputation as a healer grew, and people from far and wide came to her for help. She used her gift to heal not only the sick but also to bring peace to the hearts of those who suffered. The kingdom flourished under her care, and the people adored her. Zuri's story became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. She was remembered not just for her beauty and her gift, but for her kind heart and her ability to forgive even those who had wronged her. And so, Zuri, the girl with the healing gift, lived happily ever after with her prince, her father, and even her once cruel stepmother, in a kingdom filled with peace and happiness.